Uptown with your host, Uptown Browne. You can usually hear me every Friday evening from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. on 102.9 FM WBCA Radio. But today, live on BNN, and I am so excited about today's show. Today, I have my friends from the National Center of Afro-American Artists Juneteenth Committee. I have Ms. Jumaada Smith and Ms. Renee Holly, and we will be talking about the 2018 annual Pumpkin Parade. And we will also be highlighting the great work that they do in our community. And later on, though, we will be joined by gRadiant Jasmin, as she will be promoting her album, Breaking It Down. But first, let's meet our guest right here. First, I have Sister Jumaada Smith.
Yes.
And how you doing this afternoon?
I'm great. Jumaada Abdal-Khallaq Henry Smith.
Yes.
I put all those names in there. I'm doing wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm so excited to have you on my show today.
And I appreciate, and we appreciate, and thank you much for supporting the community and all of the aspects that you do, and giving us this opportunity to tell the community about our event.
Yes.
And also what we do at the NCAA.
And you're a very busy lady in this community.
Well,
you do a lot of things. Can you share with our audience what you do?
Well, I am very honored to be the chairperson of the Boston Juneteenth Committee.
Okay.
And the Boston Juneteenth Committee, as a matter of fact, your grandfather, the late Ralph E. Brown, was one of the primary initiators of the Boston Juneteenth Committee. And about, I guess it was actually 8 years ago. It was 8 years ago, your grandfather, Gaither, the Imam, your grandmother, Mrs. Wilma Brown, there were about 8 of us. And we met at the NCAA, and we ended up having our first annual Boston Juneteenth Emancipation Proclamation celebration.
Wow.
And so, in addition to that, it's one of my favorite. This committee is composed of quite a few people, and through the years, we have people that just come on board, and people are so kind and so creative and sometimes, you know, we're fired up and we have different opinions, but I love working with this committee. And maybe I can tell you later who some of the members are. But in addition to that, I'm the coordinator, which is like the president of the Golden Ears of Freedom House.
Golden Ears of Freedom House.
And the Golden Ears, you just have to be 55 years old to be eligible, but they are the oldest senior group in Boston.
Wow.
And they had as many as two. My mother was a Golden Ear, so I was very proud to be join the Golden Ears of Freedom House. And I spend a lot of time with the Golden Ears of Freedom House. We just finished our 24th summer fling, which was successful and lots of fun. I'm also a proud member of the Veterans and Friends of gRadiant Memorial Park.
Yes.
Now that's down Dudley. Some people are calling it Nubian Square, but right across from the B2 station, and there's a little park, and that is the General gRadiant Memorial Park. And we are getting ready to do some big things. We're going to actually, Fern Cunningham, who is a member of our church at Grant AME Church. I'm also a member of St. Catherine Drexel Parish, and I'm an affiliate member of Grant. Proud of both. But Fern Cunningham is the artist, the sculptor. And we're doing big things, and we are raising money to get that park to be a historical thing, not just in the city, but in the United States, and really for travelers to come, and it's going to be very historical. So those are some of the activities I belong to.
You're talking about the park's going to be historical. What's so historical about this park?
Well, first of all, what it features and what it, you know, we just kind of failed to remember that African American veterans were present.
Yes.
You know, and we do these things in our books, and it's really unfortunate because at one time we weren't even allowed to be educated, to get education, and to have degrees, and now we're able to write in these books, and there's so much work to be done in our community. One of the things we have to be cognizant of, we should be on these boards where they write the books.
Yeah.
And there should be history. There should be things in the books that the children, the articles. I used to hate history. As a matter of fact, sometimes I just sacrificed and I made a C because I just refused. I refused to say Columbus this America.
Exactly, in 1492.
You know, and so, Pastor Johnson calls it Native American Day.
Yes.
But it's just that we should just share the education because everyone has the values. And so this African American grounds, it's honoring the African American veterans, and our plans are just, I'm so excited about it. It's going to be a place to just sit down and relax, but also you're going to be able to walk around and you're going to see the history of the different wars, and little education, little snippets of information.
Yes.
So we have raised, I don't guess we can talk money, but we've raised a certain amount, and there's a certain amount that we have to raise as friends, veterans and friends of the Gordy Memorial Park. And that is ongoing. We're having, let's see, the next event that I can think of is November the 11th. We're going to have a worship service at Grant AME.
Yes, yes we are.
So we can invite everyone to come, and it's going to be kind of worship service, and I don't know if it'll be a fundraiser too, but we are going to worship on the November, which is actually Veterans Day, 11/11, and that's going to be the next event. Look out for Veterans and Friends, and you can always get in touch with myself, Hayward Fennell, Randy Tatum. Oh, there's just a long list of people. And your grandmother, Mrs. Brown, Ralph Brown, Vicky, Chantel. Oh,
so
there are about 14, 15 of them.
Do you have a website or?
I really don't have that information. I may have it in my brain, but I don't want to. But you can go and look up, it should be Veterans and Friends of Gordy Memorial Park, because I think we're on Facebook.
Yes, you are.
So that shouldn't be a problem.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that hit me because I was really excited to hear this about the celebration that we are going to have at Grant AME Church on November 11th coming up. And it will be at 11 o'clock at 1906 Washington Street. If you're watching the show, come out because we're going to honor and celebrate you. And after the service, we will be having a feast. I mean, a feast and fellowship downstairs after service. So remember, November 11th, come down 1906 Washington Street, right up there in Boston, Mass., right across from the park, right by the pawn shop by Lenox Street. Come down and celebrate with us.
So that's 11/11 at 11.
11/11 at 11.
Yeah.
And you will be having a great service. The service will be wonderful. So, Miss Renee, how are you this afternoon?
I'm great, thank you.
So, you are an educator, I've told.
Yes, I am. Yes, so
May you say a little something about that?
I'm actually a trained Montessori teacher.
Okay.
And I've been teaching in Montessori for 13 years, but in education for over 20. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, can you about the school?
Sorry?
Can you please tell me about the school that you work at?
Okay, right now I am working at Walnut Park Montessori in Newton. I'm an intern. And I just completed a very intensive 8-week training program this summer, actually at the school that I work at right now. And I'm trying to get, or my goal will be to get 3 to 6 trained. So that's 3-year-old to 6-year-old to teach that age level in Montessori education. Because my bigger goal is to open up a school in Roxbury. And so I already have a presence. I've done a parent-child program about 2 summers ago. Last summer I opened up a very small program in my home. So the school I work at is called Roxbury Roots Montessori. That I'm starting is called Roxbury Roots Montessori because I'm a Roxburyan.
Yes.
And my roots are here, and it's going to be a Montessori school. But it's also going to be African-centered because I think that's very important.
Very important.
So I'm working very hard on accomplishing my goal and opening the doors by September next year, 2019. And hopefully it will be from birth year-old teaching. And so I'm currently looking for a teacher leader, someone to open the school with. And so.
Okay.
And nurture more Montessori, African-American Montessori teachers
So if
in our community.
Anybody who's watching the show now want more information on how they will be able to help you, how would they be able to get in touch with you?
They could email me, roxburyrootsmontessori@gmail.com. I have a Facebook presence, Roxbury Roots Montessori School. Yeah. And so they can either look me up, or they could like my page, and they could email me. Yeah.
And what made you decide to teach young children?
Oh, I've always loved teaching. So I went to a private school when I was younger, and that school started by two women, and they always talked to us as children about them opening the school and why and their passions and things. And I think that ignited a little seed inside of me to want to open as I get older. I fell in love with Montessori when I came to work at Lexington Montessori about 13 years ago. And I think I got trained about 3 years in for infant toddler level. And maybe 2 years after that, probably when I was 40, when I turned 40, I decided that I wanted to open my own school in 10 years. So I'm 51.
Okay.
And it's coming true.
It's coming true.
Yeah. So on my vision board, I told everybody. And so, it's coming to fruition. Because we really need a different educational system in our city.
And what is your teaching philosophy?
It's Montessori, right? And so Montessori really focuses on independence, teaching independence to children. Also, it's very child-centered, and it allows the child to direct themselves. So you're trying to be self-directed, opposed to, and it's a non-traditional classroom setting because they don't have the traditional desks where children sit down and the teacher is actually, sort of instructing them. But the materials on the shelf are, I think it's auto-educational. So they pull the work off the shelf and it's supposed to teach them something. And we have many different areas. There's also language and math. We have what they call practical life. And that is just teaching exactly what it sounds like, right? Practical life skills. So we have sewing works with the pouring. These are young children, so I'm talking about, a 3-year-old, but even if you're talking about infant toddlers, we're teaching them to use real materials like glass and being careful and all those things. And so through practical life, that teaches them a sense of order. It helps them to build their concentration, their independence, and their coordination, which we call OCCI. Through that, once a child begins to get that under order, then they begin to learn reading, writing, and math. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So it's all sort of tied into to themselves. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
And also, I really feel it's important to add the African-centered piece, and they'll teach each other. Because Montessori also has a peace education, and we feel like she felt like through her education that she teaches the children to be peaceful adults, which with African-centeredness, And so if you're learning things about yourself, like we were talking earlier, it's really important for children to understand their history and their contribution into the society, or the African into society, which gives them pride, right?
It does.
And then they're learning to be peaceful, and so I think that would carry over. It sort of complements each other.
Yeah, because like he was talking about earlier, when I was younger, I went to a Mecco school.
Yeah.
And then, thank God, before then, I have a family that taught me a little bit about my arts. We always had books by Ed Bullins in the house. We had poems and stuff by Langston Hughes, and my Uncle Freddie would always show me videotapes and documentaries about Paul Robeson.
Right.
But then when I came back home from Germany, I was able to go to a summer camp school called Indy, and this was led by Mr. Philip Harrington.
Yeah.
And he was our MECA coordinator at that time. So like we would go to the school early in the morning, and the first thing that we had to do is say, Mother to Son by Langston Hughes. And then, we had to learn that poem before we start the day. And if we messed up on that poem, we had to sit down and come back at it again tomorrow.
Right.
And
So you remember that?
I remember
And that
that.
gave you pride from
Yes,
you?
it gave me pride. It gave me so
Stayed
much
with you.
pride. It boosted up my self-esteem, and plus that we learned, like we learned about our history. We had Rumas, Brother Rumas, he would come down here and do African drums and stuff and teach us about African drums. We had dancers. We like learned about our history during, that was like one of the best feelings I got, because before I used to hate to go to summer camp, like go play basketball or play, go swimming and stuff like that. But when I went to Indie Prep, I learned, and I loved learning. I started to love to learn at that time. And then I also did that too in the winter after school program and so forth. And then speaking about Langston Hughes, it's so ironic that we had to learn Mother to Son every day. And now I'm in the company, and we have a production coming up called the Harlem Renaissance Revival Flavor, and I play Langston Hughes, and now I have to say Mother to Son.
Amazing.
Well, while we mentioned Langston Hughes, let's put a little, the National Center for Afro-American Artists, they, well, of course, with Miss Lewis, Black Nativity.
Yeah.
Yes.
This will be there. As a matter of fact, it's the, I think it's the 48th.
48.
The 48th season for Black Nativity this year. And it's going to be at the Paramount, the old Paramount Theater. And it's the 7th, 8th, and 9th. It's like Friday, Saturday, and Sunday for 3 weeks. It's going to start on Friday the 7th, and it's going to go through Sunday the 23rd. So it'll be every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from those dates. So we want to get our tickets, and we want to support that. For me, annual thing, my birthday's in December, and that's like part of my birthday present, is to go. As a matter of fact, I like to go on the last Sunday. But Langston Hughes, that's sensational. I know you've been to Black Nativity, right?
Oh, a couple of times.
Okay.
And I always enjoy the performance.
I think it's amazing that it's, what is that, 49? Yeah.
48.
48. Because I remember going to school at Elma Lewis, one of her programs, to learn sewing and different things. And so, I think I didn't mention that, but that's definitely something that, is going to be in the school that I'm opening. But it's also wonderful, we're starting this pumpkin parade.
Yeah.
Right.
At the National
Yes, that's
at the museum, and it, my hopes is that this event, this is the second annual, will be in 49 years or 46 years. Or so.
Oh yeah, let's talk about the
We'll
parade.
continue,
All right.
in the theme of like a Black Nativity or something, where we're establishing something important in the community for the children that can.
This
live
is
on.
this is the second annual Pumpkin Parade.
Okay.
This was the vision of one of our newer members. She's not too new anymore because she's been around now. And her name is Annette McCarty, an artist. She has an art studio. And she and her daughter, Choice, she's our youngest member on the committee. And that's one of the things I love about the Boston Juneteenth Committee, because such creative ideas, and then we come up with something, and then we all get on board to make it happen.
Yes.
So this is like Annette's vision, and then we just kind of follow the lead and also incorporate the ideas. And so at first, I'm going to tell the truth, because, it's on October the 31st.
Yes.
And it's on a Wednesday this year, October the 31st. But the key is it's in the morning from 10:30.
10:30 to 1.
And Annette, she knew what she was doing. She didn't want it in the afternoon. She didn't want it in the evening. She wanted it for the babies, for the little ones.
Right.
And
Focus on them.
I got it, and I understood what she was doing. And I tell you, last year, it was the cutest thing.
Yeah.
And, I didn't realize that we could tap so many people. And another thing that she taught me that I remember, a lot of we homeschool too, you know.
Yes.
We homeschool too. And so we had a turnout of, it was over 100.
Over
Yeah.
100 kids.
Yes. And we were there, and breakfast, we serious breakfast for the adults and the children. And we have, you're talking about fun to see those little tykes. We have a parade, and everything is outside of the museum. They march in the parade. We have, well, as a matter of fact, this year the parade marshal, I just got notice that it's going to be the mayor.
Oh, the mayor's
The
going to be the
mayor,
parade
Yes.
marshal?
Yeah, Mayor
Yes.
Marshall's going to,
Oh, wow.
Marshall, Mayor.
Marty Wash.
Marty is going to be parade marshal. And so, but they're going to have like a pumpkin. Everything is called the pumpkin, and I like that, you know. They can wear little costumes and everything. But what we're doing is you think of the harvest time. You think
Yes.
of the, you know, it's all about the children. It's all about the season. You know, it's not so much this other thing that I'm not going to even name, you know, because not a lot of people don't do that. But there'll be a pumpkin parade. There'll be a pumpkin dance off. Those kids got up on that stage. I mean, they dance. We're going to have a DJ.
A DJ, okay.
There'll be face painting. Then there's a golden pumpkin hunt. And kids will look for the golden pumpkins. And the ones who find that, the gifts are phenomenal.
We have over 20 prizes.
Yeah, we have over
And they're-
10, and there's
and they're
serious
good
prizes.
prizes.
It's like
Really?
4 tickets to
The zoo.
the swan boats.
Yeah, the
and,
swan boat, the
going out to places that I guess because of my age and
Yeah,
not having a lot of
skiing.
young kids, skiing,
Skiing
well,
too?
all
Oh,
kinds
yeah.
of tickets.
Oh,
Yeah.
serious.
I want to participate. Can I participate as an adult?
Well, you know, we need help.
Bring your children.
We're going to have, of course, we're going to have all kinds of trick-or-treat bags. And also, the Golden Ears of Freedom House, the senior group, they're out to help, you know, so it's going to be intergenerational. And we've had some sponsors and some contributors that, you know, really helped. We have some of the politicians have sent us a donation, help us not only with this, but with our Big Head Festival.
And who are some of the sponsors?
Oh
help you
boy,
out?
well, I know that the Swan Boats, J.P. Licks, Bonkers, Prestige Cuisine, Discovery Museums. They gave donations.
The Corvida Museum.
The Corda, yeah.
The Corda.
And you know, I hate to name the politicians, but we had about 2 or 3 city councilors that gave us a little donation, not a little, but a donation to help to make it happen.
Yes.
We're asking, like, if people, the adults who bring children, that they have at least 1 adult per 7 children. But please tell your friends and your neighbors and everything to come to the National Center for African Artists at 300 Walnut Avenue. That's right on the corner of Walnut and Crawford. Okay. And in Roxbury, 02119. And we're going to have a fabulous time. Great last year, and I didn't think I was going to get hung up, but I'm ready to even put on a pumpkin outfit or something. I don't know.
It sounds like an exciting time.
Yeah.
But I am so honored to have you two on my show today, and I'm glad that you came, and I'm definitely going to be there at the pumpkin parade.
Oh, good.
I'm going to really
Bring
work
your
early.
Now, it's Wednesday. Don't forget,
Wednesday.
October the 31st. It's from 10:30 to 1. And we're going to have the food. I keep talking about the food because they had so much food last time. And 4 adults and 4 children. And then it's going to be fun.
Yeah. There is a cost.
There's a what?
Oh.
There's a cost.
No. Or
Well,
if
we
you
don't
want to,
talk
if you
about
want to,
cars.
yes, if you want to find out
So I
more
just
about
want
the
you to know-
pumpkin
yeah.
parade coming up
For
on Wednesday,
adults.
October 31st, between the hours of 10:30 to 4, please go to the. Oh, it's right up on the board, right
But there's
there.
no children. There's
No
no
fee for
cost.
children,
And a
yeah.
little small fee for adults, but it's no fee for the children.
And I just want to thank you, Renee Jolley, for being on here,
Thank
and
you
Sister
so
Jumaada for
Thank
joining
you,
me.
Brother Terry.
And we are
Enjoyable.
about to take a break, and when we be back, we will talk to gRadiant Jasmin. We're back, and this is Going Uptown with your host, Uptown Browne. I am now joined by gRadiant Jasmin. and artist of all sorts. We're going to talk about some of the stuff that she do, and she does have some talent. But we are here to talk about her upcoming album, Breaking It Down, which will be premiering later on this month. Welcome to Going Uptown, Radiant.
Thank you.
And Radiant, so can you tell my audience a little something about yourself?
Well, I'm born and bred in Boston. I'm a third-generation Bostonian on my mother's side, and grew up in an artistic family. So for part of the time lived in my grandmother's house, and she sang, and my grandfather played trumpet. My uncles and aunts all did something creatively: fashion design, painting, musical theater, comic book art. And I was like the little one growing up, in the family there. My mother did, she was an actress, or, did acting, and now she still does fiber arts, crocheting and sewing. My father was a jazz bass player, boom, 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 boom. So it's just infused in me. And so being the little one, like in my grandmother's house, I just looked at what everybody else was doing and listened, and nobody said I had to make art, but it was like sleeping, walking, breathing. It was a way that you showed your happiness and your joy and appreciation for being alive. So I picked up a lot of the different mediums, and even a few that weren't necessarily in my family, and that's why I'm a multi-genre artist.
Wow. And out of all the things that you do, what is your favorite type of art that you love to do?
Oh,
That would you have a
gosh.
passion for?
That would be like asking which of my two children I love the most. I go out of, phases of working with different mediums, and it really depends upon like the message that I'm looking to, portray with whatever the art form is, or whatever I've been asked to by the creator. So I consider myself a channel, a tool to bring forward love and light and happiness. And certain mediums, work, or sometimes they're in conjunction with each other to tell whatever that story or message happens to be.
Well, we have some of your art that I would like to show some of my audience. Then when we see the pictures, we could describe some of the art that you did.
Okay.
All right. Wow, nice body painting right there.
Thank you.
Now, can you describe that piece of work to us?
So my model there is Vaughn Victor, who he grew up here in Boston and now lives in Arkansas. And that was painted a couple of years ago. I had the basic design in my sketchbook, and actually didn't know who I was going to paint it on. And when we were speaking, I put out a call for people to be my models for body painting. And he responded back, and I was like, I felt like this thing, would fit him very well. And I was right about that. And it really, he's also a singer and a dancer, martial artist, and he just really played really well in the poses with that design.
So what made you do body painting out of all painting?
About 20 years ago or so, a friend of mine had a business, body painting, doing a lot more face painting. And she brought me in. She lived like right across the street from me, and I started to learn it back then. At that point, it was mainly painting at big events, Puerto Rican Festival in Franklin Park, and big events like that. And then through the years, I decided I wanted to, and actually incorporated the body art into my own performances, and would body paint on myself while I recited my poetry, and other people would paint on me, while I was moving or while I'm singing.
There's some more of your body painting right there. Now, can you explain that to us?
So this here was for a fashion show, so a promo for a fashion show that was coming up. And, so they told me what the designs were they were looking for, and I had never painted these particular birds before. So I had a lot of fun first practicing on myself, and a lot of fun painting these particular models.
Those are beautiful, very beautiful. So if anybody wanted to have some of your body painting, how do you have a store? How do you get people to come down and get body painted?
Well, I generally paint people at events,
Events.
or if it's like for a lot of those body painting photos were done in the studio of a photographer. Sometimes it's at my studio. So right now my studio is at 11 Humphrey Street, and it's in a compound with a lot of other artists. It's called Humphrey Street Studios, so that's in Dorchester, Outman's Corner. And often, like I said, I go around to different events. So like if I'm doing just face painting, I'm often painting at the Caribbean Carnival in Boston, at the Cambridge Caribbean Carnival. I'm often at the Rosendale Farmers Market in Rosendale, and just all over, birthday parties. Yeah. So.
Okay, so yeah, we have your information right up there on the board. Bask in the splendor of beauty. You know, you do have some wonderful art. I be seeing your pictures on Facebook and all the things that you do. It's like, it just amazes me, and it shows that you have such a wonderful spirit, and everything shows in your work.
Thank you.
And speaking about your work, you have a nice little harp over there. Can you please say a little something about the harp?
Yes, this harp is Purplicious.
Purplicious.
I named my harp, yes, and this is my first harp. I had been wanting to play the harp for a long time, at least 20 years. It's one of those goals. I often write my goals down, because they say if you write them down, you're like 90%, higher chance for them to actually actualize in your life. And I'm the oldest of my siblings. I'm the oldest of 12. So one of my baby brothers asked me, he wanted to do something special and get me something, as the thank you for being a good big sister gift. And I asked him for a harp, and he said, yes, amazing. My brother Nasir, I'm just so happy, and blessed. So yes. And so my new album, actually, I'm going to talk a little bit about that. Breaking It Down is actually my first album. So it's not the one I'm working on now. Breaking It Down is actually all completed.
Okay.
And you can actually link to that and find it on my website. Go to my website and gRadiantJasmin.com, and then go to my music page. And you can listen to it or purchase from there. So the new album is actually Persistent.
Persistent.
Yes.
Persistence, okay.
And it's one of my songs is Persistence, and I thought it would be good to.
Okay, so we are going to take a break. When we come right back, we're going to hear Miss Radiant play the harp. And I'm just so we are going to hear some beautiful music played on a harp by my guest, Radiant Jasmin. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Oh my goodness, that was just so soothing. It was just like I was just in true serenity playing that song.
Thank you.
And what was the name of that song, by the way?
So I haven't titled this one yet.
Uh-huh.
It's something I'm working on right now. So, yeah.
Okay, so on your albums, what type of music is your particular music? What's your genre, in other words?
It's a mixture, so like soul, gospel, jazz, some hip hop, spoken word.
Okay.
Over some smooth rhythms, and So my first album, Breaking It Down, has a lot more spoken word poetry and some, some numbers that are sung, and then some that have both. I call them soems. Pieces that are both spoken and sung. So it's not just a poem or a song, it's a soem. So
Can you show us a little, do a little example of that?
Oh gosh. Wow, you kind of got me a little on the spot.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I was going to talk a little bit more about some of the
So
songs on the.
when did you start making music?
Well, I really started writing a lot probably about 22 years ago or so. Yeah. The poems came, well, I guess both, but the songs came first and then the poems. So, like a lot of the songs and poems and soems on the album, I wrote like 20 years ago, and I perform a lot. So I'm really excited to finally be, putting them down in a format people can take them home, because every time I perform, people ask, do you have it on CD? Can I have that? Can I bring it home? Or do you even have a book of your poems? So in the new album, I'm actually going to have a little booklet with the lyric sheet of all the songs and that, so that people can actually, read my songs, like the lyrics to my poems.
And what are your poems mostly about?
They're a lot about loving yourself, loving other people, the environment. So nature really inspires me a whole lot. So on the new album song that's titled New England Sunset, and I love sunsets, and in my living room I can look through my window and I can't see the whole sunset, just a small sliver, and that inspired me to write the sunsets. And I'm actually filming a music video where we'll have me with sunsets in at least 3 of the New England states. So I've started filming that, and it's really exciting. And
it does sound exciting.
So I have that. I also have a song that's dedicated to both my aunt, one of my aunts that passed away. She passed away last year, my Aunt Nisa Farms, one of my mother's sisters. And it was very unexpected, and she was like my first visual art inspiration of all my aunts and uncles. And so it's entitled Spirit Level, and it's about touching in with the spirit of a loved one after they've passed away in order to help, your grief, to overcome your grief. So I'm really excited. That's when I wasn't expecting to go on the album. And when it came, I said, I have to put this one on. This is very special.
And how many songs do you have on your album?
It's going to be 10 tracks.
10 tracks?
It's going to be 9 songs and 1 interlude on persistence. And they're almost done now. So the party is actually going to be a pre-release. So we thought maybe it would be done in time, but I just want to make sure it's done well. I really am into quality.
Yes.
Quality, for my artwork. And I don't want to rush it. The sound is a lot fuller than some of the songs I'm breaking it down. So like I have saxophone on a couple of songs, flute. There's me playing the harp, which is new. I've had the harp for about 1.5 years. And a couple of songs, I have about 5 background singers. So the sound is very full and very rich. So there's a lot that goes into making sure that it all just sounds on point.
You want it on point. You want it tight. You don't want to put no raggedy stuff out there. You want this stuff to be on point, tight. So are you collaborating with anybody on this album?
I am. So one of my majors is Kavaya Amen, and he co-produced Breaking It Down for me. He's also engineer as well as a multi-instrumentalist. So he plays bass and keyboards and percussion. And it's just amazing to with him. We've known each other for about 20 years. He moved to Miami, moved back to Boston, and it's been great to work on him, second time, and to see our collaboration grow and strengthen. It's been fantastic. Also, with Fizz the Guru, Fizz the Guru, or AKA Mark Williams. So he's producing one song. Another one is Spirit Levels, being produced by Antonio Jackson, and he's now back home in Minneapolis, where he grew up, and he's a saxophonist. And so those are a few of my producers. So.
Sounds exciting. And have you ever performed around any venues?
Yes, I have. So Milky Way, the Lizard Lounge, are some of the venues that I've performed at. The Wake Up the Earth Festival in Jamaica Plain.
I've been there. And which one is your favorite one to perform at?
Oh wow, again, that's like, each one has its own special flavor. Like the Wake Up the Earth Festival, I've been going to that probably for close to 30 years and taking my children and my husband. And what's special about a big family-friendly, event, and you're outside. And that's what I love about, being there. Everybody of different ages, can participate. I love the Lizard Lounge. That's a much smaller venue. Only adults come there because it's part of a bar. So each one is different. Each venue,
And do you have any upcoming shows?
I do.
Oh.
So I have my pre-release listening party for Persistence, and that is the 27th. It's the day after my birthday, which is the 26th. And I have a tradition of having what I call a birthday party jam, either on or somewhere really close to my birthday. So, and this birthday, yes. So, yes.
Okay, half a century.
Yes.
And you're going to bring it in style, too.
I am. So it will be at the Boston Nature Center in Mattapan. And it's a beautiful space, and they do amazing work teaching people about nature and how to be conscious and how to treat nature well. And there's flowers and plants, and it's a beautiful sound. The sound and the acoustics are what I really like. When I went in there, I said, "Oh, is this going to sound to perform?" In this space. I've never performed there before, so.
It's going to be an awesome, good time, because I'm definitely going to make it down there.
Oh, thank you.
And and how can we get tickets again if you want to go to this
So
event?
if you RSVP gRadiant Creations Art at gmail.com. So just send an email over and just let me know how many people are coming with you. It's a family-friendly event, so bring the children, bring your mama, papa, grandma, cousin, your friends, come on over. I'd love to see you. I'm going to perform with a few of my band members, a few songs from the album, and then you can put your name on the list for the pre-sale. So I'll be one of the first people to have the album.
Man. And now, I know, music, making music and stuff could be very challenging. Do you have any challenges that you had while preparing your songs and stuff?
Yes. This album, I've been recording it since 2016. And in the beginning, it was going really, really smooth. The momentum was very smooth. And then I had some things happen, personal things, one of them being passing away. And taking the time off from recording, it's taken a while to pull together the whole team, to just get everybody, gets back to different projects, or people move, or, we're recording a lot of digital audio workstations, and people are upgrading their computers, and sometimes when all that happens, then it's like you have to re-record things, or it takes a while to remix them. So that's again why I said Persistence is the name of this album, is it's taken a lot of faith in myself and in the process, and in my collaborators, to come through with this. I mean, often, when you come up against challenges, it's like, oh, this is hard, maybe I won't do it, maybe it's time, you just kind of push it to the side. But I felt like I had done that for years already. I have two children. Their ages are 28 and 25, so spent my whole adult life mothering, and my youngest just reached out, and so now I can fully delve. I mean, you're always a mama, you're always going to be a parent, no matter how old they are, where they live. But it's like now I can really focus fully in. So I'm excited.
And so, how do you promote your material usually?
I do a lot on Facebook. That's one of my main, social media sites that I'm on. I'm a little on Instagram. I'm in the process of, I'm going to update my website. Right now I have a site that shows all my artwork, but I'm going to have some that's split off, one that's just like for music. We don't have the, URL for that, trying to figure out what that's going to be. So there'll be one for music, probably one that's just for my jewelry art. And
so for the YouTube page, correct?
Yeah, and that will have its own. I do have a YouTube page as well. I have a little bit on there, not a lot. So once I start again recording the really professional, videos, of course that's where they're going to be. They'll be there, and they'll be on my Vimeo, I'm Radiant Jasmin. Like, if you just Google me, I pop up at a lot of different places. I'm very easy to find. So.
Okay, very exciting. I'm just so excited about this pre-release 50th birthday party. You know, I was over here thinking you was 40 years old before you had a 50th birthday celebration on you. But you look wonderful, and I just love your music, the way you play that harp. I mean, it was just so peaceful, so peaceful. But I'm still very interested in that soul tree before.
Let's see, what's one that I can pull? One of the psalms or one of the songs. It's going to be something that I'm working on right now, recording. Again, you kind of caught me on the on the spot. And I'm just trying to figure out where the mic is. Oh, it's going to pick up for me. When someone that you love has passed, when someone that you love has left too fast, all over you shadows cast, you can reach them on the spirit level, and your minds will meet. Reach them on the spirit level, and it will be sweet. Reach them on the spirit level, and they won't grow old. Reach them on the spirit level, and you'll always touch. Oh.
You know, I could really empathize with that song, because when you was just singing that song, it brought me back to the day when my granddad passed away. Going through a tough time in my life, and it was just like, when he passed away, I'm like, you know, I was mad, I was cursing at my God, saying, why are you taking away from me? Why are you taking away from me? But you know, our voices say, Tyree, you got this. You got this. And then, like, that just helped build me up, you know, and I just started focusing on reading the word, focusing on becoming a better person. It was in me, because now I got the energy. Instead of being out there destroying the community, I'm out there building it up. You know, I'm making great connections. I'm fighting for people's rights, and that's why I felt that song in me, and it's just like dynamite.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You know, when it came through, at first, I wrote the first part of that a couple of weeks after Prince passed away, and I'm a big Prince fan.
Yes, purple.
Lifelong, you know, since his first album, and so when he passed, it hit really hard. Yeah. So when the song came, I didn't even realize that was part of, you know, I was going through the process. I was like, wow, this is really kind of, you know, it wasn't super different from, you know, a lot of my songs, which are spiritually based, but it just felt different. I didn't understand. You know, I put it away for a while, and then my aunt passed away. I wanted to gift something special at her memorial service. And I came back upon the song again, and I was like, oh, and I finished writing it and sang it at her memorial service. So it's an honor of them, of Prince and my Aunt Nisa. So, yeah.
Amen, amen. Well, Radiant, I really want to thank you for being a part of Going Uptown today.
Thank you.
I can't wait to come to that album release party. And your host, Uptown Browne, on Going Uptown. And we will see you for a special Veterans Day episode coming on Friday, November 9th. The second Friday of each month, Going Uptown will be right here on BN. And don't forget to listen tonight to Going Uptown with Uptown Browne on WBCA Radio 102.9 FM. And we will be focusing on 90s music this evening. Thank you.
Sometimes you need to hit your head in order to wake up. Sometimes you have to almost die in order to learn how to live. Sometimes you have to have everything taken away that you learn how to give. Life is balance. I'm just breaking it down, breaking it down. Life is balance. I'm just breaking it down. Life is balance. I'm just breaking it down, breaking it down. Life is balance. I'm just breaking it right down. You have to know where to aim before you shoot your arrow. Sometimes the road you're on is not straight and narrow, but broad and